Bhajakacharya Sattva Sri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Sridhar Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paribhajakacharya Stodra Sattva Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Goti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Sudharidas Thakur Ki Prem Sakaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Swami Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Gaura Purnima Ki All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So today in the Stuyvesant Falls we are observing Gaura Purnima. Lord Caitanya, who appeared over 500 years ago in West Bengal, India, is Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna in his original form appeared 5,000 years ago, and he enacted his all-attractive, miraculous childhood and boyhood pastimes in Vrindavan for the pleasure of his pure devotees. When he grew up, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, which is still today regarded as priceless spiritual wisdom. Krishna appeared and disappeared just before the beginning of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the worst of the 4 millenniums. It's the age in which morality decays and vices appear. It lasts 432,000 years, and we're already into it 5,000 years. We are now living in Kali Yuga. After Krishna's disappearance, as he saw Kali Yuga progress, he saw his pastime places becoming covered over and forgotten, and the people devoid of God consciousness. In Shantipur, the leader of the Vaishnavas, Advaitacharya, lamented for the lack of God consciousness in the population. He prayed to Krishna to personally appear and rectify the situation. He'd read in the scriptures that Krishna is pleased just by an offering of tulsi leaves and water. So he offered tulsi and water to his Shalagram Shila, and he made loud cries to Krishna to please descend. And it was by the cries of Advaitacharya that Krishna descended in Kali Yuga as Lord Caitanya. In Krishna Lila, on the topmost platform, Krishna appears as two, Radha Krishna, as the conjugal couple. And this is called Madhurya Lila. In Gaura Lila, Lord Chaitanya's Lila, he appears with many associates, but he appears as one. But that one person is a combination of Radha and Krishna. It is said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. Krishna Lila and Gaura Lila are identical. There's no difference between them. The only difference is that Gaura Lila is more merciful. Rupa Goswami wrote a poem to the holy name called Sriman Namastika. And he used the words Nama and Namni. Nama to refer to the holy sound vibration, and Namni, the personal form of Krishna. He said of the two, Nama is more merciful than Namni. So similarly, Gaura Lila, which is known as Audarya Rasa, the rasa of magnanimity and mercy, is more merciful than the Madhurya Lila. In fact, you can't enter Madhurya Lila unless you go through Gaura Lila. Gaura Lila, all you have to do is chant Hare Krishna, and you can become Krishna conscious, following the rules and regulations. And you can gradually enter into Radha Krishna Lila. Lord Chaitanya did not display himself as Krishna, as Lord Vishnu. He appeared as a pure devotee of Krishna. But his confidential assistants saw through his disguise and recognized him as the personality of Godhead. There are many statements in the scriptures that support Lord Chaitanya being Krishna. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sango Pangastu Parsadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, people who are intelligent who perform congregational sankirtan to worship the Lord, who always chants the name of Krishna. Although he is not blackish, he is Krishna himself, and he always appears with his confidential associates, his weapons, and his companions. This reference that Krishna is not blackish implies that he's golden. This is substantiated by another verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, early in the 10th canto, when Garga Muni attends the name-giving ceremony of Krishna. He says to Nanda Maharaj, this boy appeared in different colors in different ages. In the Satya Yuga he appeared as white, in the next Yuga he appeared as red. Now he's appearing as blackish. And in the future he will appear as yellow. So this yellow, or Gaura, golden, is Lord Chaitanya. Therefore the religious dharma for this age is the chanting of Hare Krishna, and the incarnation for this age promulgates Sankirtan. But only Krishna himself can teach the loving mellows of reciprocation with the devotees in the four different relationships with Krishna. So it was for that reason that Lord Chaitanya descended in Navadvip to spread the Sankirtan movement. The Chaitanya Charitamrita author states that the spreading of the Sankirtan movement was the external reason for Lord Chaitanya's descent, and he had internal or confidential reasons for his descent. He emphasizes that he had three reasons for descending. One was to understand the position of Srimati Radharani, who is the primal reciprocator of loving Krishna. Krishna is the reservoir of all loving mellows. He's the subject of loving exchanges, and Radharani is the object. Thus the subject, Krishna, wanted to understand the mellow of the object, Radharani. The second reason for his appearance was he wanted to know his own mellow. Krishna is all sweetness. Radharani's attraction for Krishna is sublime. And Krishna wanted to know, what is it about me that Radharani finds so attractive? So in order to find out his own sweetness, he appeared in the combined form of Radha and Krishna as Lord Chaitanya. And the third reason was to taste the bliss of Radharani. Krishna knew that in the company of Radharani, she certainly enjoyed his company, and he enjoyed her company. But in the exchange of spiritual mellows, Radharani's pleasure was much greater than Krishna's. She felt more bliss in the relationship than he did. But he couldn't understand her happiness. It was impossible for him, from his position, without taking her position, because he's the transcendental male and she's the transcendental female. So in order to taste the bliss of Radharani, he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, mixed in the mood and complexion of Radharani. Since we're observing Gaura Purnima, I'd like to narrate some early Chaitanya Lila. Lord Chaitanya did not appear like an ordinary mortal. He was not injected into the semen of a male into the womb of a woman. He appeared in the mind of Jagannath Mishra and was transferred to the mind of his wife Sachi Devi. Same thing happened with Krishna's appearance. He appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and was transferred to the mind of Devaki. So Lord Chaitanya stayed in the womb of Sachi for 11 months, and he waited for an auspicious occasion. And And that occurred with the lunar eclipse, because at the lunar eclipse all the Hindus enter the Ganges and they chant Hare Krishna. So he timed his appearance for when everyone was chanting Hare Krishna. He got them to chant coincidentally with his appearance. In his boyhood, he manifested the same mischievous activities that Krishna did in boyhood. In his youth, he entered school and became a brilliant scholar. He opened his own school and taught beginners logic and grammar. In his youth, he did not manifest many of his Vaishnava qualities. He appeared to be a proud scholar who was interested in debating logical arguments with others. He didn't associate with the Vaishnavas of Navadvip. He got married to Lakshmi Priya and lived at home with much to the happiness of his mother and father. When his father, Jagannath Mishra, passed away, Lord Chaitanya journeyed to Gaya in East Bengal to offer pinda at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu for the departed soul of his father. While in East Bengal, he met Ishvara Puri, who was to become his spiritual master. And this was a life-changing experience. Ishvara Puri was a great devotee. He was the favorite disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was the first acharya in the Madhva Sampradaya to manifest realization of Radha Krishna pastimes. So after meeting Ishvara Puri, Lord Chaitanya became a different person. When he returned to West Bengal, he was an ecstatic devotee of Krishna, chanting Krishna's names all the time. He began to associate with the Vaishnavas of Navadvip. For a year he held all-night kirtans in the house of Srivas Pandit, and they manifested many wonderful and miraculous pastimes there. They would pack the house with pure devotees and then shut the door to not allow others to come in. One time Lord Chaitanya was sitting in a special mood, and he was chanting the name Gopi. He was chanting Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. And some students passed him by and they criticized him. He said, "Why are you chanting the name Gopi? Why don't you chant Krishna?" Lord Chaitanya became very angry that his ecstasy was broken. And he picked up a stick and chased after those students. In fear and anger, they ran away from him. And they ran to a place where 1,000 students were gathered. And they all criticized Lord Chaitanya. He said, "If he does this to us again, we'll beat him." Lord Chaitanya was aware of their activities and he became very disappointed. He thought, I'm trying to spread Krishna consciousness, but I'm doing just the opposite. And then he concluded that he should accept the sannyas order. He thought, they're criticizing me because I'm a householder. If I were a sannyasi, they would offer me respect and they wouldn't criticize me. So in secret, known only to a few devotees, he accepted sannyas from Keshava Bharati. After accepting sannyas, he became almost unconscious in ecstasy, and he wandered in the land of Radha Desh. He was seeking to go to Vrindavan, but he didn't know the direction. Lord Nityananda appeared on the scene, and he told some cowherd boys, if you see Lord Chaitanya, and he wants to go to Vrindavan, direct him to the Ganges instead. So the boys did that, and they tricked Lord Chaitanya and diverted him from going to Vrindavan. At the Ganges, he met Nityananda and Advaita Acharya and asked, what are you doing here? They said, at this spot, the Yamuna and the Ganges mix together, so you have actually achieved the Yamuna. And then they requested him to spend a few days more with his Navadvip devotees. Lord Chaitanya realized the situation, that he had been tricked, but he submitted to them, and he went to Advaitacharya's house. They brought his mother there, Sachi Devi. She cried to see Lord Chaitanya's shaved head and took him on her lap. He said to his mother, I accepted sannyas in a crazy state of mind. My body belongs to you. I will do whatever you want. Sachi Devi said, as long as you stay here at Advaitacharya's house, I want to be the only one to cook for you. And then she requested, please make your headquarters at Jagannath Puri. Jagannath Puri and Navadvip are like two rooms in the same house. If you live at Jagannath Puri, sometimes the devotees from Navadvip can come and see you. And sometimes you can come to Bengal and bathe in the Ganges. Lord Chaitanya accepted her order, and after some days of feasting and chanting at Advaitacharya's house, he left for the Jagannath Puri. He stayed there for some years, and then with one assistant, he went on a tour of South India. And on that tour, he constantly held Hare Krishna Kirtan. And the people of South India were not Vaishnavas, but he converted all of them to Vaishnavas. It was a miracle. His influence was tremendous. Just by seeing him in his ecstatic movements and hearing him chant, everyone became a pure Vaishnava. And the people who heard him would go to their villages, and being empowered, they would be able to convert the people of their villages into Vaishnavas. In this way it spread out, and wherever he went for 6 years, he converted the people to Vaishnavas. On that tour, he had a very intimate and wonderful meeting with a devotee named Ramananda Roy, in which they discussed intimate pastimes of Radha Krishna. and Ramananda Roy agreed to join Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. Lord Chaitanya then returned after 6 years to Jagannath Puri and had a wonderful reunion with all his devotees. Every year, for 18 years, for 4 months of the year, the devotees from Navadvip would walk to Jagannath Puri and spend 4 months with Lord Chaitanya. They took part in festivals including Ratha Yatra and daily kirtans. He was so affectionate to his devotees. Krishnadas Kaviraj describes it at length, and it's very wonderful. He was like a loving father to all his followers. He mentions many of his followers, but says he cannot mention them all. I will mention just a few of them. One was Advaitacharya. He was older than Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya treated him like a spiritual master. But he didn't like that. He wanted to be treated like a disciple. So he devised a plan. He began attending Mayavadi lectures. And this made Lord Chaitanya very angry. Lord Chaitanya went to his house and began to beat him. And Advaitacharya's wife Sita said, "Leave him alone, he's just an old man." But Advaitacharya was ecstatic. He said, "At last you accepted me as a disciple. And you're not showing me respect." And Lord Chaitanya became a little embarrassed. His other inseparable companion was Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is his eternal brother as Balaram and Krishna's leader. So together they spread the holy name in Navadvip. But then when Lord Chaitanya went to Jagannath Puri, he ordered Lord Nityananda to go to Bengal and preach there. Lord Chaitanya took up the order. Lord Nityananda took up the order, but for every 4 months of the year he would travel with the Navadvip devotees and join Lord Chaitanya. Then there was Swarup Damodar, the intimate secretary of Lord Chaitanya. He knew Lord Chaitanya's mind and soul, and he was his intimate secretary. Devotees used to like to submit their writings to Lord Chaitanya, but the system was no one could show Lord Chaitanya their writing unless Swarup Damodar first approved of it. So he would read it, and if there was any discrepancy, he would chastise the writer and tell him to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and write according to the Bhagavatam's conclusions. Then there was Raghunath. He was a young man in Navadvip who was a very rich family. He wanted to run away and join Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri, but his father confined him and surrounded him by guards. Lord Chaitanya met him and told him, "Don't act like a fanatic. Act like a gentleman, and in time you'll be able to visit me and join me." Eventually Raghunath got the mercy of Lord Nityananda, and he was able to escape from home. He ran alone to Jagannath Puri and joined Lord Chaitanya. There he was put under the personal supervision of Swarup Damodar, and he became known as the Raghunath of Swarup. He became the assistant secretary of Lord Chaitanya under Swarup Damodar, and was privy to all the intimate pastimes of Lord Caitanya. After Lord Caitanya passed away, Raghunath wanted to commit suicide, and he went to Vrindavan to jump off the Govardhan hill. But Rupa and Sanatan prevented him and told him to live at Radhakund, and he lived there for many years and practiced bhajan in the internal mood of a Gopi Manjari. Then there's Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family, but he chanted 300,000 names of Krishna every day. The Muslims didn't like him chanting Hare Krishna, so they wanted to persecute him. And they punished him by having him beaten in 21 marketplaces, to kill him, in other words. But he wasn't hurt. And the men beating him just exhausted themselves. He said, if you've exhausted yourselves by not being able to kill me, then I'll die. And they thought he died, and they threw him in the river. But he was all right. Actually, Lord Caitanya protected him and took all the blows on his back. So Haridas Thakur was allowed to accompany Lord Caitanya to Jagannath Puri. Knowing he was born as a Muslim, he did not enter Jagannath temple, but Lord Caitanya would every day go and visit him at a place that he gave to Haridas Thakur called Siddhabakul. And he would say, how are you, Haridas? And they would talk every day. So he's known as Namacharya, the Acharya of the holy names. There are innumerable associates of Lord Caitanya. But I've used up my time in talking about them. I'll just mention the last 12 years of Lord Caitanya's appearance. At that time, he removed himself from the association of devotees and just absorbed himself in the inner mood of Radharani in separation from Krishna. And he exhibited many crazy symptoms, like Radharani did in separation, and bodily contortions, mad talks, and he had visions. He would associate just with two intimate companions, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. They used to augment his ecstasies by singing songs and reciting verses and kept him alive. At the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Caitanya spontaneously composes the one poem that he wrote in his lifetime. Otherwise, he commissioned his Goswamis, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, I didn't mention them, to write books on Krishna consciousness. But he wrote several verses, Shikshastakam, about the holy name. And in the last verse, it's spoken through the mouth of Srimati Radharani. And she says, I do not know anyone but Krishna as my Lord. He may crush me roughly in his embrace, or he may make me broken-hearted by not being present before me. But he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. I could speak more Chaitanya Leela, but I've used up my time. I would like to ask Ram Roy to speak a few words, since he's carrying out the mission of Lord Chaitanya with Harinama Sankirtan.